Hi there, this is Lee McQueen, and I'm talking about Bernie Sanders and the Transpacific Partnership. And I'm talking about it in several different steps. First, I wanted to talk about something I hope was just an urban legend or a rumor. I've seen reports that Bernie Sanders was booed by House Democrats who want a Clinton endorsement. And the behavior, as it was described in several articles I read, it sounded like behavior conducted by people who haven't been raised. That's what it sounds like to me. And why would Bernie Sanders bow down to people who act like that? Why would anyone? If you're gonna, you know, have a professional job or meet in a professional setting, try to act like a professional. And again, why would Bernie Sanders endorse um, a wing of the party that behaves like that towards him and that have behaved like that this entire primary season and continuing on with the Democrat platform drafting? Kind of maybe act like you're at your age, act like someone raised you, act like you've had some home training. Maybe you'll be treated with respect. If you act as if you are deserving of respect, you'll be treated that way. And I also want to say that there's also some kind of disconnect with Hillary Clinton's wing of the Democrat Party. Hillary Clinton did not win this primary race. Maybe someone told her she did. Maybe it was the mainstream media. Maybe her handlers and agents and operatives who were attempting to fix the election and rig the election in her favor reassured her that she actually won, but she didn't win. And I think that's going to be proven with this racketeering lawsuit that's actually going to start going into motion after California certifies its primary vote. California finishes voting tomorrow. I think there were still um, two counties outstanding who still had ballots to count, and it was about in like the mid 8,000s, maybe 8,500 ballots left to count. And then those have to be turned into the Secretary of State tomorrow, which is July 7th. No, sorry. They have to be turned into the Secretary of State. Yes. Oh, okay, that is right. They have to be turned into the Secretary of State tomorrow, which is July 7th. The Secretary of State announces the total on July 8th, which is Friday, and then it gets certified the week after. And so then after that, the lawsuit's going to go forward. So, and I think we're going to learn some strange things that happened this entire primary season that will go a long way to explaining the disconnect between the large amount of anecdotal support that we've seen, like on the internet, these large crowds and these large rallies and overwhelming excitement and enthusiasm for Bernie Sanders, and then very muted support for Hillary Clinton, largely delivered by her staff and her superdelegates and mainstream media. And so I think a lot of things will be explained. And so now we're at the Democrat platform drafting, and there's still this large disconnect because for some reason Hillary Clinton's wing of the Democrat Party just can't seem to understand why Bernie Sanders is being so persistent with representing the people who have already said they do not want fracking, they do not want Trans-Pacific Partnership. They absolutely do not want to consider these things and have them on the Democrat Party platform. And Bernie Sanders is holding hard and strong to that point of view. And so it's just so strange coming from a wing of the Democrat Party that lost a majority of the vote, still attempting to inflict their worldview, their establishment Wall Street money and politics worldview upon the rest of the entire population. And it's just not working out for them, and they're frustrated, and they're, acting like no one raised them and booing while someone's actually speaking in a professional setting. So Anyway, at the platform drafting committee, the last committee meeting will be held this week in Orlando, Florida, on July 8th through 9th. And that'll be just about the time that California finalizes its vote total and it gets announced. So I think that'll be pretty interesting to see if that has any effect at all. But there are some deal breakers that have yet to be settled. Moratorium on fracking and opposition to the Transpacific Partnership trade deal. And so the Democrat Platform Drafting Committee finalized a version of the platform. The full platform committee will meet in Orlando to approve a final version, which will then be ratified at the Democrat National Convention in Philadelphia at the end of this month, which is July 25th through 28th. In the meantime, there's a large coalition of digital rights and progressive organizations like Open Media, Electronic Frontier Foundation, Daily Cause, Demand Progress, and Corporate Accountability International. They've collected signatures, hundreds of thousands of petitions, and they're calling for Nancy Pelosi to publicly declare her opposition to a lame duck vote on the Trans-Pacific Partnership. But she hasn't really responded. The Clinton camp, the Clinton wing of the Democrat Party, they're pivoting or attempting to pivot towards the general election because that's what Hillary Clinton does as a tradition. That's all she knows. That's her political strategy. She doesn't have anything else. She just does the same thing over and over, regardless of what year it is, what decade we're in, or what the current issues are. She can't read a room. So she's pivoting, and she's, like everything, her judgment is off. So she doesn't want to be tied to positions that might hurt her in the general election, like in the battleground states. And so it's so bizarre because Donald Trump is against the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and he's won the Republican primary. So it makes you wonder, what exactly does Hillary Clinton think she's pivoting towards? No one on the Republican side, at least at the presidential level, is pro-TPP. The only person in the race who's even somewhat near that position is Hillary Clinton. So as usual, she's off in her thinking, but don't tell her that because she knows everything. So she's just cautious. She thinks she has to pivot towards trade and big business in order to win the center. And it's already been proven with Bernie Sanders' tremendous, overwhelming support this primary season, and also Donald Trump's, that populism is winning the day. And it actually won the day in the Democrat primary, but again, don't tell Hillary Clinton that, that. Just let her find out from the lawsuit, like she usually finds out things from lawsuits. But anyway, there's a coalition urging Nancy Pelosi to defeat the trade deal, the TPP, because it threatens internet freedom, jobs, higher wages, affordable medication, and strong climate and environmental policies. And so there's just a general lack of congressional support. And there's also these politics surrounding the primaries, and it's fanning public opposition as more people learn about what the Trans-Pacific Partnership is. The opposition towards it grows. And so I think our congressional body is discovering that the only way that this is going to pass is if it were selected for a post-election lame duck session of voting. And that's got a lot of people nervous. And so that's where they're trying to get Democrats on record saying that they oppose a lame duck session on voting. And basically a lame duck session, it's that time, that moment in time in a political calendar when representatives who are still in Congress, they've have announced their retirements for that session, that season, or they've been voted out of office and they're just still serving out the rest of their term. So they're basically on their way out the door, but they're still holding their seats until time's up. And that means they have no political accountability, and that includes the president. But for Trans-Pacific Partnership, it's actually Congress who's going to do the voting. And so most House Democrats have announced opposition to TPP, but Nancy Pelosi's just been kind of quiet about that issue, and people are trying to get her to speak up against it. Bernie Sanders has surveyed all this and made his contingency plans. He's got his plans B through C through D through Z already in order. He's going to have a rally, so to speak, in Philadelphia. He's already applied for the permits. So he's anticipating having a gathering in Philadelphia. They have an event that's going to reportedly host between 15,000 to 40,000 people, which is the usual size of his rallies, on July 24th at Franklin Delano Roosevelt Park. And so it's just one of 10 such pro-Sanders events that have already received permission to meet from the Philadelphia mayor's office. So the Bernie Sanders campaign is getting ready for the convention, and Sanders has already promised to bring a floor fight to the Democrat National Convention over the platform. And this is because the ban on fracking and then the Trans-Pacific Partnership were overruled or watered down during the previous meetings on the platform drafting committee. And so Bernie Sanders has already promised that he's going to take his fight to the convention floor if he doesn't get what he wants, which is what we want. He says if we fail there, we are going to take this fight to the floor of the Democrat Party convention in Philadelphia next month. And so it's not just Bernie Sanders. Word about the Trans-Pacific Partnership is growing. People don't want it as they learn more about it and how fearsome this trade deal is and the harm it can cause to people and the planet. They're coming out against it. And so the Brooklyn rapper Talib Kweli, he's going on tour. It's part of Rock Against the TPP. It's a free series of concerts that's protesting the Trans-Pacific Partnership. There's a guitarist from Rage Against the Machine. He's participating. And the lineups are going to vary at each stop. And Anti-Flag is going to be playing selected dates. And so they call this trade deal the biggest corporate power grab in history. And that's a very good description of it. So word is going out about Trans-Pacific Partnership. Bernie Sanders has started his revolution. The revolution may not be televised, but it will be on the internet and social media, I'm sure. But I'm really glad that more people are coming out against the Trans-Pacific Partnership, that the condemnation of this trade deal is nearly universal among citizens, and that it will be the citizens that hold our leadership accountable for their attempt to betray us and to sell us to these large corporations for 30 pieces of silver or whatever they're hoping to get for our health, our public health, our consumer protection. How much is that worth to them? Not nearly enough. But, you know, there's efforts to hold them accountable, and it's not just Bernie Sanders by himself. He's going to come to Philadelphia with people. He's actually going to go to the platform drafting committee this weekend with a new total for the California vote for sure. And if that's still not enough, then Philadelphia it is. And we're going to stand up, we're going to rage against the machine, and we're going to defeat the Trans-Pacific Partnership and send it back to where it belongs.